Welcome to Speakeasy Spirits. Today we're going to try to answer the question, can cocktails be healthy? No. Well, that was easy. This is our first video of 2024, and since it's a new year, a lot of you may be making New Year's resolutions to eat healthier or lose weight. So how do cocktails fit into that plan? It depends on what your health goals are. If you're looking to go gluten-free, by their very nature, distilled spirits are gluten-free. However, some brands may be adding additional ingredients in after distillation. Spirits like flavored vodkas and whiskeys or spiced rums, anything that's not the pure distillate off the still, might include something that has gluten in it. Your best bet is to check the brand's website and see if they have a gluten-free certification. But the resolution I want to look at today is losing weight. I know I could stand to lose a few pounds, so how can we make a cocktail a little lighter on calories? One of the staples in every bar is this bottle of liquid calories called simple syrup. This is just sugar dissolved in water. It's used in so many cocktail recipes, but are there any good alternatives to it? What I want to look at today is, can we make a zero-calorie sweetener that's good in a cocktail? I'm going to test 4 sugar substitutes and see if the cocktails we make with them are any good. I went through my local grocery store and picked up stevia. This is a granulated sugar substitute. It's 0 calories, made from a stevia leaf. I also picked up monk fruit in the raw, swerve, which is a 1-to-1 sugar substitute that's mostly used in baking. All 3 of these are granulated, so we'll have to make a simple syrup out of them. But I also picked up a liquid sweetener. This is RX sugar, and I found it in the pharmacy aisle. Since each of these sweeteners bills itself as a direct replacement for sugar, we're going to go with a 2-to-1 simple syrup recipe. So just like making any simple syrup, we're going to add 2 parts of the sweetener to 1 part water. I'm only going to make a small amount for each of these, so let's start with a 1/4 cup of water and 1/2 cup of sweetener. In this case, we're going to start with the stevia. This would be exactly the same if you were making it with white sugar. You don't need to bring this to a full boil. Heating the water just makes it easier to incorporate the sweeteners. You could also do this with cold water and a lot of shaking and stirring, but warming it up just makes it a lot easier. There don't seem to be any granules sitting at the bottom, and it's looking pretty clear. So let's go ahead and turn off the power, and we'll bottle this and make the rest of the syrups. Now we're dealing with hot, sticky syrups, so give this some time to cool before bottling. To make your syrups last as long as possible, the bottles should be sanitized. I use a product called Star San. It's used in beer brewing. It's food safe. A couple of tablespoons in the bottle, swirl it around, let it sit for a minute, and dump it out. You don't need to rinse it. Won't hurt anything, won't affect the flavor. You'll know your bottles are absolutely clean, and it'll stop any funny little things from growing in there. Here's our 3 homemade 0-calorie simple syrups. We've got stevia. This came out crystal clear. If anything, I would say it might be even more clear than the white sugar simple syrup. Then the monk fruit. This one does look clear, but I can see suspended particles in here. There seems to be some granules settling at the bottom, and there is a film forming at the top that appears to be crystallized sugar. And then the Swerve 0-calorie sweetener. This one's the thinnest. It came out kind of tan. There were 5 or 6 different types of this Swerve sweetener in the store. I couldn't buy all of them, so maybe one of them would make a crystal clear, thicker syrup. But as it is, this is a little disappointing. Now we'll be comparing that to our simple white sugar syrup. And I also have this allulose-based RX sugar, and I've poured a little out so we can see what that looks like. Again, it's crystal clear. It has that slight yellow tint that a normal simple syrup would have. We are going to make a cocktail recipe with all of these, but I want to try each of the sweeteners on its own first. So just to compare, this is the normal white sugar simple syrup. It's got that classic white sugar taste. It's also much thicker, coating the sides of the glass, where this has almost no viscosity to it. So with the stevia, it smells very sweet. It has a vanilla note to it. It tastes a lot like marshmallow. I don't know if that's just from the stevia leaf or something they've added to it to try and cover up the artificial sweetener taste. It's not bad by any means, but that vanilla note may not work in every cocktail. Now the monk fruit sweetener, the more this sits, the more it's crystallizing at the top. I don't know how this is going to do for long-term storage. Let's take a taste. With the stevia, it smelled sweet with a hint of vanilla. I get absolutely no scent off of the monk fruit. This has absolutely no flavor. It's sweet, but it doesn't taste like anything. You might think sweetened water is what this would taste like, but this has a distinct white sugar taste where this doesn't have anything except a flavorless sweetness. That may work out great in a cocktail. We'll have to see. Now let's try the Swerve. Now as this cooled, it did pick up a little more viscosity. It has an odd wheat oatmeal kind of smell to it. It definitely has a distinct flavor. It's kind of bready and very, very sweet compared to the other two. Even compared to our 2-to-1 white sugar simple syrup. It's much sweeter than this. And now the liquid RX sugar. This is much more viscous. It's sticking to the sides of the glass the same way the white sugar simple syrup does. It's definitely got a darker color to it, but it is crystal clear. And on the taste, it's probably the closest to the white sugar. One final note on these. This is the glass the Swerve was in, and you can see that it's left particles in the bottom of the glass. So far, this is my least favorite. Let's see how it does in a cocktail. For our cocktail, I want to keep it a very simple recipe that can really highlight the way these sugars taste. So we're going to make a simple daiquiri. There's lots of different ways to make a daiquiri. Everybody's got their favorite, but today we're going to make it in a 3-2-1 ratio, which means 3 parts white rum, 2 parts lime juice, and 1 part of our sweetener. Let's start with 1.5 ounces of this Plantation 3-star white rum, 1 ounce of lime juice, and 1/2 ounce of the sweetener. Let's start with the white sugar. Now shake that over ice. And let's strain that into a coupe glass. There you have a simple daiquiri. Let me knock out the rest of these and we'll do our tasting. Here's our lineup of daiquiris. We've got our baseline, the white sugar simple syrup, and then all of our 0-calorie options. The first thing I noticed is the color. These all came out about the same, except for the one made with Swerve, which came out as a darker syrup. The Swerve itself is starting to show particles in it, and the monk fruit sweetener has almost entirely crystallized at this point. I don't know if they're going to crystallize in the drinks or not. Now on the taste, let's start with the white sugar. It's tart, it's sweet. The lime juice comes through nice and clean. There's no additional unexpected flavors there. This is what I'd expect from a good daiquiri. Let's start at this end with the stevia. There is another flavor in there. It's probably this odd vanilla marshmallow note that the stevia sweetener had. It might work in some cocktails great. If you're going for a dessert cocktail, something with some strong vanilla notes, this would be fantastic. It might make a great old-fashioned even. But in a daiquiri, vanilla and lime just aren't going together for me. Now, the monk fruit, this one had the most neutral, flavorless taste of all the sweeteners. And that holds true in the cocktail. It's a nice, clean lime flavor. The rum comes through. There's no odd taste coming from this one, but it's also a little less sweet. So if you wanted to use a monk fruit sweetener, I'd say you'd have to up the ratio a little bit more than 2-to-1. Overall, not bad. But with this one already turning to solid crystal, this may not work very great for long-term storage. Now for the one made with Swerve. No. There's an odd, weedy, bready taste there. Maybe in a bourbon or a rye whiskey, that would cover it up. But with the clean flavors of a daiquiri, it's very present and not pleasant. It does not belong there. There may be another variation of this swerve sweetener that works better for a simple syrup, but this is not it. And now the RX sugar. This is the only one made with allulose as the sweetener. That one's pretty good. I think the thicker syrup adds a little bit of richness. You get a clean lime and rum flavor. It doesn't have that metallic aftertaste that you might associate with a lot of artificial sweeteners. It's everything I'd expect from a good daiquiri. So I think we have a clear winner here, and that's the RX sugar. The one drawback here is the cost. For what I paid for this bottle, you could probably get about 12 pounds of white sugar and make years worth of simple syrup. But if you're looking for a low-calorie option, this is a pre-made syrup. It's ready to go. You can keep it behind the bar, keep up your New Year's resolution. For myself, I think I might continue to use the stevia in some other recipes. Like I said, it might make a great old-fashioned, something with a whiskey or rye, where the vanilla note might work really well. But in a citrus cocktail, I don't think that marshmallow flavor really works well. And then of course, there's plain white sugar. It's got the classic taste you might be looking for, and if you use it in moderation, maybe you can squeeze in a couple of cocktails into that new diet. Happy New Year. I hope you liked the video. If you did, be sure to like and subscribe. We'll see you next time.